What's up guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the Mighty Max build series. Today we're doing a Mustang S550 IRS.
I played with the idea of a lot of different options for an IRS conversion and we landed on the Mustang S550. Now, the reason I picked S550, there's actually quite a few reasons. The first one being that it's very strong. These things are in 4,000 pound Mustangs or whatever they weigh. And this is an 8.8, it's all aluminum. And it comes with relatively strong axles. It comes with 13-inch rotors, which we're gonna change out of course. And it's very inexpensive, especially in the spec that I got, which is a 315 gear ratio. This is from a 2022 model, 43,000 miles. Now the reason the 315 works great for us is because of the 8 HP. You can run as low as like a 290 gear or possibly even lower and not really have any problems. I was gonna do a 308 because that's the lowest gear set I could find for the solid axle, and I do have a 308 set here, but 315 is not much different, and for sake of not having to pull this thing apart, it makes me pretty happy. I'm more than happy to just run this as it is. Now, also it has an LSD. All the Mustangs have LSD at this point, so that's pretty cool too. We have all aluminum uprights, obviously a steel subframe itself, and then the aluminum diff. Now, is it lighter? No, I think it's gonna weigh about 70 pounds more than what's in the truck right now, but that's a small price to pay in my opinion for having IRS and getting the setup that I've always truly wanted. Now, the big hope here is that we don't have to change a whole lot with my frame. I don't think we're gonna have to, and that's another reason I picked this specific IRS versus something else, is that the subframe is very low profile. As you can see, the mounts don't come up like crazy. You buy like an S14 subframe, then you gotta put an LSD in it, and you gotta upgrade it or put a quick change. I mean, it snowballs very quickly and you spend a lot more money. I got this whole rear assembly for 750 bucks delivered. Obviously I took the wheels off and put them on here so we can get this thing mobile. It's pretty cool, I'm not saying that this is the best rear end on the planet as far as suspension geo. I know a lot of the Mustang guys that drift them want to change stuff with their rear ends. They don't love them, but for me, it's a great option for what we're trying to do. And I also really lucked out because these cars are very wide, and my setup is very wide because of the front track width and then the wide body or the over fenders and stuff. So with that, this is 66.75 inches from flange or flat hub mating surface to hub mating surface. And this right here, I measured at 67, so it would be a 1/4 inch bigger, but they say that actual hub to hub width at ride height is 66.25. So either way, I'm good with it. We're talking about an 1/8 inch per side or a 1/4 inch total if it is indeed 67. And if it's less than that, that's even better. It just fits a little cleaner. So we're good to go either way. So stay tuned. I think we're all gonna love it. Before we pull all this stuff out of here, I have to make sure that we have some way to reference where we were before, because once it's all gone, it's gonna start to look real naked real quick. I've marked my center lines both vertically and horizontally so that I know exactly where the center of this axle is relative to our frame rail. We're using the laser to line that up and then go down the center, split the difference. Also line up with the casting over there. You can kind of see it right there. And we're gonna scribe a line down the frame. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then of course, along the way, we'll do other things to reference it, like measure it to the front of our frame rails over here, maybe to our front axle centers, our hubs for our overall wheelbase, and just keep everything as close as possible to where it was, because it was great before. Everything looked good in the bed as far as alignment goes in the wheel wells. And that's it. So I'm gonna scribe the lines, we'll use those for reference, and then we'll move forward. The last thing we gotta do is measure the axle center down to the ground so that we can make sure our subframe is positioned accordingly for our proper ride height. With our scribe lines in place, I've checked squareness from both the cab and the frame rail on both sides and across. Everything is nice and square. And now we can pull everything out. All right, we got our first looks at the IRS in place with the solid axle out of the way. Everything looks good so far. Frame rail height relative to the subframe I think is gonna work fantastic. But now we gotta make some space. So we've got our old panhard bar bracket in the way. We've got some bump stops that aren't really in the way, but they don't need to be there. And then our shock mounts, which will be in the way for the future plans that I have. And then also our front 4-link brackets. I'm gonna grab the plasma and cut all this stuff out of the way, and then we'll pick back up with the subframe back in position. All right, well, we've got everything ground off now. It was quite messy, and it's not perfect, but I'll clean it up and make it look like it was never touched, in the very end. Last to do are our 4-link brackets on the frame on both sides, but I want to take a quick break, clean things up as I made a massive mess. And while I'm enjoying not grinding and having metal dust everywhere, I started messing with the rear subframe. So right now we've got a jack on our diff and a jack on the pinion itself, so that this one is raising the whole subframe up and down, and this one is setting the pinion angled. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to lock the subframe in this position so that when we slide it under here, we know exactly where we want it to be relative to the height of the truck and relative to the axle angles. Right now, the diff is pointing up at 3 degrees and our 8 HP is pointing down at 3 degrees, equal and opposite. It's perfect, that's what we want. It may vary slightly, but if you shoot for 0, you'll get really close. And then we have our axles all at 0 degrees. So if we look here at our angle cube, you can see it's at 0. That one has already shut off, but that one is also at 0. And that's gonna be where we want the subframe to be at weighted ride height. We're gonna lock the subframe in this position, probably by bolting something to our factory shock mount here and then welding it to our subframe here. This is just gonna be temporary, but what that will do is hold the subframe at the desired height that we need so that we don't end up locating this thing within the truck. When we get done, it ends up being really high or has a really unfavorable CV joint angle or both. That's the plan right now. Like I said, I'm gonna grind off those old mounts and then I will pick back up as I'm locking this thing in place. Scratch that, I lied. It's getting dark out, I wanna get some light back. So let's go ahead and get this thing locked into place. That way we can roll it inside and put the door down, gain a little bit of room back. With that being said, I've got the front of the truck jacked up because obviously the rear end is very light right now. We are sitting on the locks, but I got a jack here to bring the front up to offset the lack of weight in the rear. We've got our angle cube here, put it on our frame rail, and we're at 0 degrees, that's great. Let's see what we're at right here. Obviously I already did all this, so I know we're at 0, and we're at 0 degrees there as well. So that's great. Now that's just a reference point. That means essentially that's where the truck would be if it was sitting on the ground. Now I can slide under and measure the flange coming out of the trans, see what we're pointing down at so that we can make this pinion angle the equal and opposite degree-wise. Let's slide under here. 2.7 degrees. Let's try this. And now it's 3.15. So I got 2.7 degrees downward on the left side of the flange, and on the right side it said as much as 3.2. So less than half a degree or right at half a degree, but still some variance. So we're gonna lock in at 3 degrees and we're gonna move forward setting our pinion angle with that number. All right, things are tacked. I used some 1/8 inch scrap steel plate, drilled some holes. They're not symmetrical, it doesn't matter. It's gonna get thrown away as soon as we're done with this. Then we use some 3/4 inch square, tacked it here, that way it's easily accessible so I can cut it off and grind it down. And that's just a placeholder so we know the subframe is at the proper height when things are all said and done. So I mentioned the pinion angle being at 3 degrees up. That is true, it does need to be there. We didn't lock it at that, we're not really able to do that. As soon as I remove these jacks, the subframe is gonna pivot back and forth. That's okay, I just wanted a reference point so I could see how high the diff was with the axles at the right position so we knew what kind of ground clearance we had and where everything's gonna land. We got our first looks here, and this could be the craziest luck I've ever had, but there's still things to be figured out, so this is just a rough idea. But right now the subframe is in place. It's relatively centered across the truck as far as left and right goes. It is relatively centered within where it needs to be as far as the old center wheel position, center of the axle. This line right here, this scribed line, is the axle center, and we're close. Might be a little off, but rough ideas, it's really close. And then we have our height locked in, obviously, as already stated. And with that, we have the truck at 0 degrees again, and we have the diff at 2.9 degrees. It's extremely close to being what looks like perfect. I gotta run through it all, but this is what we wanna see. It's a lot better than seeing some crazy problem where the frame hit, 3 inches ago and the truck's sitting forward like this, like a stink bug. So picking back up on the next day, we get the subframe back out from under the truck. Everything looked good. The next thing to do is to remove the bushings so that we can install these solid bushings here. So I did that off camera. It's not fun. It took about 3 hours. A lot of sawzalling and air hammering, and they all came out. They're all prepped. I just need to spray them with a little bit of primer or black paint. Then we can get our new bushings pressed in, and we also have some new differential bushings. I think these are from BMR. Again, solid aluminum. Nice units. These were scratch and dent, so they're a little chipped up, but they're fine. Came with some hardware. So we're gonna get all that stuff installed off camera, and then we will pick up back onto the truck yet again, and this time ready to move forward with our bracket design. Quick interim update. All of our subframe bushings are now installed. The move ended up being to freeze them and then blast them with this dead blow here. A bigger dead blow would have probably made quicker work of it, but it worked pretty well. As long as they're really cold, it worked great. I tried to do a couple before I froze them, and that was pretty tough. So my advice to anyone else is just go ahead and freeze them ahead of time. It'll save you a lot of frustration. We got the subframe back under the truck now. The diff bushings are installed. Everything's tight, ready to go. And I also marked my subframe with a scribe line here, the diff with a Sharpie, another scribe line up here, so that we're able to use the laser and then center the subframe in the truck. Now we're gonna use a lot of other measurements. We will square it from each corner. We'll use a tape measure. We'll use fucking everything we can to make sure it's perfect, but that gives us a ballpark quick reference so that we can look at this. I can look at my little scribe line here. I have one up there that's hard to see from here, and we know that we're relatively close quickly, and then we'll dial it all in. Next thing on the list is to make sure we get it in position this way. You can see, or maybe you can't see, but the axle comes back not dead straight. It kind of angles back just a hair like that. And this line here is not for the axle center line coming out of the diff, but for our wheel center line. It's very important that that's correct because that is how we reference our wheelbase. And most importantly, honestly, is so the bed sits properly on the truck, and then the wide body fenders sit properly over that with the wheel being centered in the wheel arch. Now, the plan to mount the subframe, now that we've got all our new bushing in place, is to make some 3/16 plate brackets that then get TIG welded to our frame. So I've got some cardboard mock-up here, and these have changed a little bit, but roughly this is what it's gonna look like. Now, of course, there's a gap there, so I'm gonna change these and get them fitting nice and tight, and then we'll make this one a bit taller so that we get the most surface area welded to our frame rail here. And then same goes for the back. This one fits a little bit better, but we'll cut down this height right there in that area and get that TIG'd on, and it should be really, really clean, really strong. And we might add some other gusseting and bracing after that. Once we get all this dialed in, we're going to cut these on my brand new Eastwood plasma table. So I just got this table. It's a 4x4 unit, and I've wanted one for a really long time. I could never justify it, but the convenience of being able to cut what I want, when I want, even though it's plasma and you have to deburr it, it's not as clean as laser or water jet. It's really nice to have it right here in the shop. It's gonna be great. Oh, and lastly, we are of course going to use bolts. Now these are 9/16 bolts. They're 4 inches long, and this was the closest size to these aftermarket bushings that we have here. They fit right in. Pretty nice tight fit, a little bit of slop, and that's fine. That should be able to get us really, really close. Quite a bit of testing and back and forth. We've got our fronts completely done and bent up. Now they're not perfectly fitted yet. You can see I've sanded this edge down here, and I just need to sand it down a little bit more. This is kind of what we're looking at here. Looks pretty damn good. And then of course we'll cut a small triangle to go in there. And I'm working on the rears as well. So everything was fitting pretty well. We have our little wraparound pieces here that came out quite nice. And I ended up cutting and bending all of the other ones. But then I realized the truck was way too high. I didn't know before because all of the arches on this truck have been cut out for a very long time. However, I've been working behind the scenes for like 3 years to build over fenders. Here is our soft reveal. This is not perfect, but it is fiberglass. It will be what goes on here. It just needs to be bodyworked and painted to fit a little bit tighter. I'll do another video on this so we don't take away from the subframe swap, but very stoked about these. It's maybe you love it or you hate it, depending on how you feel about the factory Mighty Max body lines. We tried to keep what we could, but I went to a round wheel arch and I do like it. I think it looks better than before quite a bit. I'm not trying to have a factory truck, so pretty happy with it. But when I mounted them, I realized the truck was way too high, like 2 inches higher than this, which you may think this is too high, but I think this is a good drift car height, a usable car. We're not gonna have a ton of rubbing going on. We may need a narrower wheel and tire, but the ride height itself I'm pretty happy with. Before this, it was like 2 inches taller. So in lowering it and getting it back to 0 degrees, we're now making contact with the rear subframe here, which I like, and everything is lower and in a better position. However, when I did so, I changed my gap on this plate here, and now this plate is running much closer to the top of the rail. I'm still happy with the way this looks. It's fine for me. However, the rear is overlapping, so it's sitting something like that. Plan is, I'm gonna raise the truck up and I'm gonna measure across from my hole centers on both sides, measure the frame rail, subtract the distance divided by 2, and we're gonna basically create a rear plate that fits just like the front. You can see this front is touching the rail on both sides and they're bolted in, and what that's doing is centering the subframe on the frame rails, taking a little bit of guesswork out of it. It's a little less likely to move. So I'm gonna modify the rears because as you can see here, they're just a little bit too long for that bolt to go through. So I'm gonna measure that again, make sure it's right, make sure we're good and centered. And then I've got some RV wheel chocks here. That way we can lock in exactly where our hub center needs to be relative to the wheelbase, and we can move forward with less questionable fixtures, I guess you could call it. All right, we got these little shock extenders cut off, so we're not having any problems with the bottom of the rail hitting it. And now we have the straight edge across here. I've measured the whole center. I'm gonna do the same thing on the front. I gotta pull my plates off there. We'll get that measured, and then I'm gonna measure from the outside frame rail to outside frame rail, which is 25 inches. I already know that, but I'm going to confirm that, and then we will see just how much we need on either side to go to our hole center, and that will allow me to draw these plates symmetrically opposite in this space here. All right, the subframe is in place. I've got my new cut plates. You can see I have yet to clean off the mill scale. Wanted to make sure they were worth a shit before I took more time on them, and everything looks good. It's nice and centered. All of our Sharpie lines line up in every single direction. You can see I added a couple more on the back of the truck just to confirm I was right, make sure the eye line was correct. Our wheel hub center is in alignment with our axle center line from our old solid axle there. Everything looks great, everything looks good, pinion angle's right, frame's in the right position. Now I need to raise it up, get everything prepped, and then we can put our first tack welds on this thing. Got everything tacked up, came out well, no issues, none were expected. Didn't have any problems, 2 heavy tacks on either side. And it is still in place, the pinion angle is still good, frame is still good, nothing has moved, which is great. So now we pull them off and weld them out on the bench and pray that nothing moves in that scenario as well. Everything is welded up now. It took me quite a while. The plug welds were not placed in the best spots because the torch doesn't really like to fit in this area. So that was a learning experience, but hindsight's 2020. They worked, everything's welded there. Underside's welded, sides are welded. We wrapped around, welded all the way down. Everything came out really good. This was not the most comfortable thing to weld. And the biggest problem is the truck is extremely light in the back right now, so obviously it could fall forward. And it's crazy that I even raised it this high because I can truthfully pick it up off the lift arms right now. So before I risk anything else, I'm gonna get it down on the ground. We're gonna put the subframe back in and we're going to move on to the next thing, which is our rear radiator. But for now, this is the end of this video. Please check out the next one. I promise it's gonna get good. We're getting really close to doing all this awesome shit and getting knocked out. And I'm excited, I hope you guys are too. Thanks for watching.